right, so this is the Ausom Gallop SR1 electric scooter. This is the upgraded version of the Ausom Gallop. Now I say upgraded, it's more like an updated version. There's definitely some things that are not upgraded with this scooter compared to the previous generation, but overall, it's still a fantastic scooter. So just so you guys are aware, this video is not sponsored. I bought this scooter with my own money. I've got no affiliation with the Ausom company. I really enjoyed this scooter and I wanted to show you guys some really cool things about it. All right, so with this review, I'll be going over 4 main kind of topics regarding this scooter. One of those will be performance. I'll talk about acceleration, braking, what kind of range to realistically expect, and then of course ride quality, which is a very nice, very comfortable scooter to go for rides on. I'll also talk about the features. The scooter does come packed with lots of features, some that I haven't used, some that I wish it had, and some that I found pretty awesome. I'll also talk about accessories. What have I added to it, which right now you don't see any of the things that I've added. I'll show you those here in a little bit. And one thing that I wish I could have added, but I don't think is going to be possible for this scooter. And then last of all, we'll talk about customer service. I've had a couple of experiences with the Ausom company's customer service, and I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. Okay, let's talk about the one thing the scooter does very well, and that is performance. As of today, I've ridden this scooter right around 140 miles. There's my current odometer, including on-road and off-road trails. And I can tell you not once has this scooter not had enough power to get me, and again, I'm 6 feet, 225 pounds, up any hill that I needed to get up to, up any steep off-road trail. Wherever I've told this thing to go, it has gotten me there. The dual 1,000 watt motors have, honestly, they've exceeded even my expectations. I was kind of a little bit worried, you know, knowing that the original Gallop had 2 1,200 watt motors. I was a little bit worried about that bit of loss of power. But I haven't ridden the original Gallop, but I can tell you that not once have I wanted this thing to accelerate or do better for me off-road. So 100% this thing will get you where you need to go. I will warn you though, out of the box, it will come set as dual motor with the acceleration on max. So just a forewarning, whenever you first get on this thing for your first time, you're gonna wanna get into the settings and change that, or be sure you have one of your feet planted on this little footrest so that you're ready for that, because you can easily pop a wheelie and fly off the back of this thing. Now, when it comes to range, one of the first things I did when I got this thing put together was basically take it for a range test. I turned on dual motors, put it on race mode, and I just started riding the back roads around, you know, my house, my neighborhood. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm a larger person. A lot of our roads around here are very hilly. So on my first range test, I got somewhere around 17 miles with this thing 100% of the time in dual motor on race mode. So I was basically giving it everything it had the entire time on hills. So realistically, I think, you know, maybe 20 miles for an average person trying to get the most out of the speed and power of the scooter. That's about what you're gonna get. Obviously, if you move it down to single motor, which honestly, I think single motor and sport mode is probably kind of that sweet spot for you to get the best balance of range and power. You can probably, I would say, get around 30 miles or so, realistically. So if you do buy the scooter planning on commuting or taking it on long trips, as long as you can keep it in that single power, single engine mode, you know, of course, unless you need dual mode for a minute, I think 30 miles is a realistic number. The 54 miles they gave, that was, if you read the small print, on like a 145 pound person going 15 miles an hour in eco mode on a perfectly level road with no wind. Obviously that's not going to be any conditions that anybody ever rides a scooter in, so just keep that in mind. And that goes for almost all the scooters that give you that range that seems so crazy. You're never going to get anywhere near that range, but it's still definitely enough for what you're going to need. All right, let's talk speed. As far as top speed on this thing goes, coming down a hill, I've hit 50 miles an hour a couple times. Going up a hill with dual motors, I think I've always been able to keep it at least 25 miles an hour. So the power's there 100%. I've never had it struggle go under, for sure, under 20. I'm pretty sure I've at least maintained 25 going up some pretty steep, you know, roads. On a level surface, I would guess I've probably hit about 38 to 40. Now I will go ahead and tell you the odometer on this and the speedometer, they're, according to the calculations that I did around, you know, where I live at, they're about 13% overestimated. So if it tells you go on a 7-mile ride, then you're actually probably only going a little over 6 miles. If it tells you you're going 45 miles an hour, you're probably only going 40 miles an hour. So just keep that in mind when you're riding around. The numbers are a bit inflated. Braking, another thing this scooter does very well. You've got hydraulic disc brakes on the front and back. Again, there is absolutely I have no concerns when I'm trying to get this thing to come to a stop. The feel of the brake, the hand brakes up top, they feel good. They're not loose. They've got a nice, steady, firm feel to them. Again, they stop me when I need to stop, probably better than any other scooter that I've ridden. Brakes are fantastic. Ride comfort is also great. The swing arms, as you can see, they've got some springs under there. The entire scooter, basically, I'll tell you, when I'm on this thing, just standing still, I probably sink down the springs maybe 30 to 40% of the way down. So I have a little bit of up travel and down travel as I'm riding down the roads. Again, crazy comfortable ride. This is the only scooter, I guess, in this category that I've ridden. And man, I had no idea. It's an entirely different experience. I've got a couple of these Ausom Pros here that I've actually gotten a lot of use out of. I thought these were nice. These both shouldn't even be called scooters. This thing is an entirely different category. The thing I will kind of warn you about, though, especially if you're planning on riding this, a lot, mainly on roads and mainly on higher speeds, you definitely want to be careful with turning. Your steering wheel will get pretty squirrely and wobbly on you. I don't think there's a way to install a steering damper. As far as I know, there's not a company that makes one that fits this scooter. So just be careful. On the straightaway, you want to get up to speed, that's fine, but be real careful with it. Okay, now that we've talked about performance, let's talk about features. And I'm going to start right up here at the very top of the scooter. I'll show you how you turn it on. It comes with one of these little NFC cards. You actually get 3 of these in the box. Hold it over the top and then push down the power button. Powers up. Oh, took the card away too soon. There we go. So here's your battery indicator. I don't know if this is designed this way by the company or if my scooter is defective, or I'm not really sure. But the battery percentage that shows here, there's no way to see like what the actual percent number is on your battery. You just have to go off of this little bar here. And this changes constantly based on what mode you're in, how fast you're going, if you've got single or dual motor on. I've been driving down the road with dual motors going at a high speed, and it'll go all the way down to the last bar, and then I'll come to a stop and it'll show me I'm at 60%. And then I'll start up and I'll have it in single motor, and then it's down to 2 bars, and then this battery thing changes constantly. So I feel like I never truly know how much battery I have left. So again, I've started to kind of figure it out, just because I know that it's based on my power usage and my speed and all that kind of stuff. But it's still frustrating, because I feel like if you're going to have a battery indicator there that looks like it's supposed to be showing you how much you actually have left, why have it changing like that? Very annoying. Also, the screen, I don't know if you can tell, you might see it a little bit. It scratches up super, super easily. My fingernail, when I first got it, I ran my nail over it just to see if it was really that easily scratched. And this is just me scratching my fingernail one time. Like, that's how easy the screen is to scratch. So at nighttime, you don't really notice it very much, but in the daytime, especially if the screen's off and you're walking by, it just kind of makes it look junky. You push the power button again, that'll switch to your odometer, and it shows your trip, and then back to your voltage, or I'm not really sure what that U is. That's my guess on that. Park, that's your mode. So over here on the right handlebar, you go up, and it'll go to Eco, hit up again, Sport, hit up again, Race. Now, these modes have nothing to do with the amount of power that's going to your wheels. This just puts your limit at your top speed at different spots. So race, your top speed is as fast as the scooter can go. When you're in sport, that speed is capped depending on dual or single motor. I want to say it's probably around 32 or so miles an hour. And then eco limits you right around 20, 22, somewhere around there. So again, your acceleration will remain the same on any of these modes. It's just your top speed that changes. So moving back over here, since I've showed you this little buttons here, this is your headlights. Hold it down and that will turn on your main headlights, which are, you've got two of them located down here at the bottom of the scooter. Now I can tell you these are actually really, really nice. I mean, they're really nice. In the nighttime, they shine real bright. However, there's no higher located light on this thing. They're only at the very bottom. So nighttime riding, unless you're on a very, very smooth road, you're gonna have a lot of black spots and shadows, and it can be very dangerous. I mean, even in my neighborhood, which is pretty smooth roads, I see a lot of shadows, and it gives me a lot of anxiety riding with just these lights down here. That's probably my least favorite or my biggest complaint about this scooter. So obviously when your headlights are on, you'll have your little headlight display there. Turn them off the same way. Just hold the button down for a minute, turns it back off. Obviously these are your brakes. This is your acceleration. You can, within the secret menu, you can change your acceleration to have it start, from a stop, or you can give a little push off. I keep it on push off. If you're doing some off-roading and you want to help, get it over a big bump, or you have to get off the scooter for a minute and you're trying to get it over some big tree roots or big rocks or something like that, and you want to have the wheels turning to help you get over that stuff or pick it up or whatever the case is, I would definitely put it on start from zero. But personally, I keep it on the rolling start. Over here on this side, it's your other brake. Your blinker is right here. So if it'll focus there we go. Obviously hit the left and your left blinker will turn on. It's right down here. It's only on the rear. There's only a rear blinker, and it's just set to an automatic timer. There's no way to turn it off once it's on. So it'll blink about 20 to 22 times and it'll turn itself off. Same way with the right one. Blinks about 20 to 22 times and automatically turns itself off. Here's your switch for the dual motor. When it's activated, that little ring around it will turn red. Turn it off right there. This is your horn. This is a joke of a horn, but here you go. I can't believe that's the horn they put on this thing. And I assure you, it's probably even quieter to me than it's gonna show on this video. All right, so let's go into the secret menu here. Hold down these two buttons right there, and you can basically scroll through your different secret menu options. Oh, right here. There we go. And then you can adjust them as so. See the user manual, that'll show you what all these things are. I do know that P12 is your acceleration. I keep mine at 3. Again, this will be a level 5 when you first get the scooter, and it'll be in dual motor mode. So be very careful starting off like that. Okay, and then right underneath the handlebar, you've got this little part here. That essentially just latches on to the back when you're folding it, and you can carry it. It doesn't hold itself there, but there is some resistance, so whenever you attach it, it just kind of, it stays for the most part. I will say, when you're putting this thing together, obviously you have to put the handlebars and then clamp it down with these two bolts here, and then there's a couple bolts on the back side of it. There's not really a way to lock this handlebar in place aside from just clamping down as hard as you can. And I can tell you, I've clamped it down, had to reclamp it multiple times and readjust it, because I've taken it down some pretty crazy trails, and I've had to pull and hang onto the handlebars pretty tightly. I've crashed it a few times. Obviously it's still functioning and working great, but I've definitely had to readjust the handlebar because this thing will rotate within the little clamps. So that's one thing I think maybe the next time around they can do a little bit better. Moving down the scooter, kind of like I mentioned earlier, I'm a pretty big guy. I wear size 13 shoes. My feet have no problem sitting side by side on this scooter, even with my shoes on. There's plenty of space on the deck there to stand on. when I'm doing a lot of acceleration, especially on the trails, I keep one foot back here on the back. Oh, I forgot to mention up here near the top, a single press of the headlight button will adjust your front lights. Right now it's got like the waterfall. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but there is no way you press it one time, it'll kind of change the pattern that it plays there. But there's no way to just turn this off. And this is kind of cool. It's like filling up the little thing there. But yeah, there's no way to turn it off. So it's on steady or it's on doing a pattern, but it's always there. So even when in the middle of the daytime or middle of the night or whenever, if you're trying to sneak around somewhere like the campground or wherever you want to go, you won't have like a blackout mode. You're always going to be lit up bright blue. One other feature this scooter has is cruise control. Now this is something you can turn on or off within the secret menu there. I've been a bit disappointed in this. It essentially, if you maintain a fairly specific speed for somewhere around 10 seconds, it will activate your cruise control. It'll notify you on a little tiny light there that the cruise control is working. The issue I've had with it is it doesn't really maintain a set speed. If you're familiar with motorcycles and you ever had like a throttle lock on a motorcycle, then you might understand what I mean by this. But essentially, whenever the cruise control kicks in, it holds like a specific power output. So if you're going up like a gradual hill and the speed limit is 25 miles an hour, and you get the cruise control to pop on at 25 miles an hour going up that gradual hill, when you get to the top of that hill and start going down the other side, it's going to keep putting that same amount of power to the wheels that had you going up that hill at 25. So 25 miles an hour up the hill, you may end up going 35 miles an hour down the hill on the other side. So again, it's a little annoying they couldn't actually just make it speed specific. And sometimes it can take it a while, and it's kind of finicky on just turning on. I've had it turn on and it feels like 3 to 5 seconds it'll activate. There's been other times where I've been waiting for it to turn on and it just won't turn on. So again, it's supposed to kick in somewhere around 10 seconds of having the same speed. But again, that can be hard to do at times. All right, down here at the bottom are charging ports. These are pretty nice. The charger clips in really nicely, and then you have to twist the top to remove it. So it's a pretty secure. This will come with one charger. I have ordered a second one, but I'll kind of talk you through that process here in just a minute because I still don't have it yet, and I've had this scooter for a month now. So I also want to talk about this fender here on the back of the scooter. So if you're taking it down some trails or going off-roading, as you can see, the back of this falls pretty low and pretty close to the end of the back tire here. And considering you've got this much ground clearance up here and this goes so low, it's going to get caught up on roots and rocks and even curbs. If you're trying to hop down a curb going down the road, or you need to get off a sidewalk, there's a good chance that's going to catch. So you probably want to take that off. If you're interested in a phone mount, which I feel like most people probably are, especially being that it has your USB chargers on the front of the scooter, and I forgot to mention that earlier. Also, you can take this off and hide a air tag. You can hide an air tag behind this, so that's one cool thing to use. But being that it has a spot to charge your phone, then yeah, you're probably going to want to have a phone mount. So I got this one off Amazon. It just kind of screws in. You can make it work. I had it on this side up here. Again, I took it off just for this video, but this is the one I use. Seems to work pretty well. It is a little bit difficult though, because your bar is curved all the way around. And this leads me to, again, my second, well, it's not really my second complaint because it's still related to what I mentioned earlier, and that's the headlights. So on other scooters that have this, flat bar, single bar, you can mount all types of stuff here on this circular part of the scooter. I'm a big O-light guy, so I've got O-light bike lights on these guys here, but there is absolutely no way to mount either of these bike lights onto this scooter. And again, if you're going to be riding this thing at night, you are absolutely going to need another light that's not just the headlights. unless the roads are very lit up, I should say. If the roads are lit up, you'll be fine. But if you're planning on riding in rural areas that don't have lights or buildings or anything, and you're depending on those to keep you safe, it's just not going to be enough. So the only solution that I could come up with is, of course, it's going to be an Olight. Basically, this mount here, which is also made by Olight, I got this on Amazon for probably $8 or so. And then I essentially just clamp this with this bungee around the main front of the scooter, and then the light points outward. This is the Perun 3. It's a great light. So this mount's secure enough that, you know, it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't fall off. I haven't used this off-road. I don't know that I would trust it to stay on there off-road, but going down the roads, that's kind of been my solution for that problem. I mentioned earlier a steering damper. I think with scooters that can go 40 miles an hour, that's something that you're probably going to want to buy, especially if you're planning on most of your riding being at those higher speeds. You can barely ride this scooter with one hand down a smooth road, just because the center of gravity is pretty high, and this handlebar will get pretty squirrely on you. So if there's a way, hopefully in the future, maybe a company or somebody will make a steering damper for this, that would be awesome. But as it stands, if you're going to be riding this, just expect all the time you're going to have both hands on the steering wheels. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is customer service. Now, this scooter is made by, obviously the brand is Ausom, but Ausom, Kagoo, Roadrunner, a lot of these like Chinese manufactured scooters that are on the higher end, I'd say, you know, price range between $1,000 to $2,500. They're all made by the same company. I believe it's called like the Titan Group in China. They're all actually very well-made scooters. There's really no, as far as build quality goes, you can basically expect the best. That being said, all the different companies, they all have different features, and all their different scooters have, you know, they may have the same motors and the same battery and the same frame, but there's other things about them that kind of make them different. The headlights on all of them, except for this one, have a higher leveled headlight, for example. But whenever you're shopping for scooters, don't get caught up on just one company like I did. I happened to see an ad on TikTok for this Ausom Gallop last year, and I really wanted it, and then they came up with the SR1, and I finally pulled the trigger. So if you're shopping, look at different companies, look at different brands, because again, find the one that meets what you're looking for. For someone looking for high speed, mostly urban driving, I probably wouldn't recommend this scooter, being that it does have the kind of mud tires on it. There's no way to add the speed damper. This is probably not the best scooter for you. There's other better options out there. If you're looking for a scooter where you can actually take it down some trails, then yeah, this thing is pretty sweet. It's kind of a balance of city and country riding. But just be sure you're not focused on one company, is I guess what I'm trying to say. When it comes to dealing with Ausom themselves, about a week after I got this scooter, I sent them an email saying, hey, I'd like to get a second charger, because the SR1 charger is different than the Gallop charger, it's different than the Leopard DT1. It's its own thing, right? So I sent them an email. I said, hey, I don't see it on the website. Can I please order a second charger for my SR1 Gallop? So I got an automated response, because it was on like a Saturday. I sent the email, and they said, we're off on the weekends. We'll contact you, when we get back to work. So I'm like, okay, fine. Monday comes around, no response. Tuesday comes around, no response. I'm thinking they're basically just gonna ignore me, because I've heard that their customer service is not the greatest. So I started blowing up their Facebook page and leaving comments, hoping that I could get someone on their Facebook page to respond to me. That eventually worked, and they sent me an invoice for a charger, and I paid the invoice, and they said the charger was shipped. So it was supposed to be shipped, I don't know, when I first sent them the email on a Saturday, probably by that Thursday or Friday, it was supposed to have been shipped. So it's now been another 6 days, and the charger has not been shipped. And I sent them an email literally just as I'm making this video, asking for an update, because when I log into when I go into my email and it says, here's your tracking, it's still sitting in LA or wherever I guess their warehouse is over there. And it hasn't left the warehouse. So I'm not too optimistic that they did ship it when they said me they were going to ship it. And once again, they sent me an email saying they were off on the weekends, and I sent that email at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. So I can tell you they don't work Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and maybe Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday you might have some luck. But that's kind of where I'm at on customer service. So keep that in mind if you're buying one of these. If something does break or you need a warranty claim, you may check out Roadrunner or Kugu. Maybe they have more customer service employees, or they've got better, I don't know. Look around, shop around. A lot of these Chinese scooters are made at the same place, so you'll get similar scooters either way you go. But that's just one last thing to keep in mind. Well, this has been my review of the Ausom Gallop SR1 scooter. If you guys have any questions, or if there's anything that I didn't cover in this review, leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, let's hit the trails.